Okay, for the next set of directions on 22 through 24, it says solve for the arc length, round to the nearest tenth. So remember that the arc length formula is going to be a portion of the circumference. And so you're saying, well, how many degrees am I working with for that central angle out of 360? And we multiply that by the full circumference, 2 pi r. So this gives you a fraction of the circumference for arc length. So arc length is like if I wanted to take this piece of the arc, if I were to flatten it out, it's how long would it be? So it's 120 degrees, that's the measure of the arc, but what we're trying to figure out is what is the length of the arc. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 120 out of 360, that's how many degrees the arc is that I'm working with, and I wanna multiply that by circumference, which is 2 times pi. And so remember, when you type this in your calculator to leave it in terms of pi, we type in all of the numbers in the numerator times each other, and we leave the pi out. And so what you're going to do is you're going to type in 120 times 2 times 9. That is going to give me 2160 over 360 times 1 is 360 pi. So 2160 over 360. And that is going to simplify to 6 pi. So what is it exactly? In terms of pi, it would be 6 pi. What is that rounded? That is going to round to about 18.8. 18.8 inches. So in terms of pi, it's 6 pi inches exactly, which is about 18.8. Okay? The next arc, we are trying to find the angle that goes with it first, because we don't have the angle that goes with it. The arc is talking about, the 45 is that one. We are trying to find the length of the highlighted arc, so I need to find this angle. So how do I find that angle? I'm going to do 360 minus the portion of the arc I'm not working with, which is 45 degrees. So what is 360 minus 45? That is going to give me 315 degrees. Okay. So I'm working with 315 degrees out of 360. I'm going to multiply that by my circumference. So what is my circumference? 2 times pi times my radius, which is 20. Okay. So we're just going to type in those numbers that are in the numerator into my calculator. 315 times 2 times 20. That gives me 12,600 over 360 pi. And so when I go to type that in, that gives me 35 pi exactly. That's in terms of pi. That is going to round to about 110.0. And that would be meters. Okay, so there's my exact answer and my rounded answer. All right, number 24. We are working with out of 360 degrees. This arc is 135 degrees out of 360. So we're working with that portion of the circumference, which is 2 pi r. That's going to be 135 times 2 times 12. That's going to give me 3,240 over 360 pi. And so when I simplify that, that is going to give me exactly 9 pi, which is about... So times pi, that is going to round to 28.3. 28.3 centimeters. Okay, so I have my exact answer and I have my rounded answer. That is for the arc length. For 25 through 27, we're finding the area of a sector area. And so when you find sector area, it's the same thing. I'm working with 36 degrees out of 360, but instead of multiplying that by the circumference, I'm going to multiply that by the area. So what is our area formula? It's going to be pi r squared. So let me write that out. That's going to be x over 360 times pi r squared. We're going to multiply that by pi r squared. Okay? So this is sector area. So that's going to be times pi times 6 squared. Again, we know that this is over 1, so I'm going to put this over 1, and I'm going to multiply all the numbers in the numerator by each other. So that's going to be 36 times 6 squared. That is going to give me 1296. 1296 over 360 pi. And so when I simplify that, that is going to give me, my improper fraction is going to be 18 over 5 pi. That is exactly what the area of this is, so that's going to be units squared. What is that approximately? Well, now I can actually just type that in. That's going to be approximately 11.3 units squared. So again, I'm going to have both answers. I'm going to put both answers on there. All right, number 26. Number 26, we're working with this entire sector. So what is the angle of that? That's going to be 120 plus 180, which gives me 300 degrees that I'm working with in this circle. So that's going to be 300 degrees out of 360 degrees, and that's going to be times pi r squared. My diameter is 24, so my radius is going to be equal to 12. So that's going to be 12 squared. So when you type that in, that's 300 times 12 squared. That is going to give me 43,200 over 360 times 1 is 360. That pi, okay? So when I type that in, that is going to be exactly equal to 120 pi. That is going to, that's meters squared. That is going to round, when I do 120 times pi, that is going to round to about 377 meters squared to the nearest tenth. Okay, so I have my rounded answer and my exact answer. All right, number 27, I'm only working with 15 degrees of the 360 this time. And I'm going to multiply that times pi r squared. So my radius on this problem is 10. So that's going to be 15 times 10 squared. It's going to be 1,500 over 360. And that's going to be pi. So 1,500 divided by 360 is going to be, as an improper fraction, that is going to be 25 over 6 pi. And so what is my rounded answer? That's going to be about 13.1 units squared. Okay, so there's my exact answer, and then there is my rounded answer. On the quiz, I'm going to have y'all put both answers, the exact answer and the rounded answer.